Under the caption IYR Talks, I have released some videos on regional, national and international issues before COVID. During the COVID, there was a break. There was also a request from a number of people to revive these talks, so I have decided to, from now onwards, post a video on a current topic of importance on each Sunday in this website. Today I am talking about the farmers' agitation which is taking place near Delhi, mainly from Punjab and Haryana farmers. What is the background? What are these acts? The pros and cons of those three acts. First of all, there are three questions here. One, were the states consulted in the process of making this legislation? Two, whether the central government has the power to make that. Three, how beneficial these are to the farmers. Let's examine each one of these issues. First, regarding the consultation with the state governments, these are the acts which are going on in discussion with the state governments last 1.5 to 2 decades. So there is no way Congress or UPA can disassociate themselves from these acts. These were circulated to all the states as model agricultural reforms acts, requesting the state governments to undertake enactments. And some of the state governments have already done it. Some of the state governments have taken up a contract farming act. Some state governments have already made amendments in the Agricultural Marketing Act to facilitate purchase of agricultural commodities outside the market yards. And some state governments have not done it. So in the process, Government of India at one stage thought, instead of some states doing it and some not doing it, let's have a uniform pattern and do it for the nation. Second, as far as the legal authority to do it, of course agriculture is essentially a state subject, but commerce, trade, interstate trade is part of the union list. So taking advantage of that, central government has enacted these acts, and I am quite sure they will stand the test of the legal scrutiny as and when some of these issues are raised in high courts or in the Supreme Courts. The third is how relevant are they for the farmers and their interests. The first one, Essential Commodities Act amendment. This is totally an issue which has no great significance for the farmers. In fact, it was a strategic mistake of central government to club all these three together. If it was done separately, farmers wouldn't have even bothered to question this amendment itself. It's a central act. Essentially, it's an act which has a relevance for era of shortages. Now we don't have an era of shortage on a perennial basis. Sometimes they spurt and go, like sometimes you have a problem for onions, some other time you have a problem for mirchi, cotton or such thing. So instead of keeping it as these stocks at a lower level all through the seasons, central government has amended the act to say that as and when the agricultural produces prices rise beyond a point or horticultural prices rise beyond a point, then only the provisions of the act become operational, not otherwise. So I think this is something in the sphere of the consumer welfare, and as it is, essentially farmers may not have anything to do with this act. That's the first act. Second is the Contract Farming Act. Contract Farming Act is to facilitate private investments on a large scale in areas like post-harvest technology, processing, warehousing, grading and marketing. These are areas in which either you need to have a very well run cooperative to do it, or private investment will have to come. And it's not that these acts are not already there in some states. In fact, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana have a very well run Contract Farming Act to promote oil palm, to promote sugar cane. I mean, these crops are being grown under a contract farming act, though it's not called, it's more as crop specific contract farming act like oil palm act and sugarcane act. A lot of other states also have it. This is a very desirable thing from the farmer's point of view, and there are some checks and balances already put in place. We do need investment in these areas, and I mean something like, farmer goes maize. From maize to a cornflake, there is a lot of process which the farmer can't do it. Definitely private investment will have to come in there. Similarly, potatoes to chips, or for that matter any of these agricultural commodities. In fact, this is an area which can best be left to the state governments, because without the state government's involvement, commitment and support, even in case central government makes an act on contract farming, it will not be a success. And it is in the interest of the states and their farmers to really go in for these acts, and they will do it. And a lot of states have already done it. The best way of handling this would be for the state government to persuade the central government to persuade the state governments to go in for acts of this nature immediately and promote contract farming with a fair amount of checks and balances and provisions in the act to take care of the interests of the farmers. So this is one, I think in the long run, once this agitation, if at all government of India is thinking of a way out or a compromise to get out of the situation, this could be an alternative of saying that they would persuade the state governments to do this act and withdraw the central act, and it will really be a lot of states would on their own will be willing to take up this act for the reasons I have already mentioned. Main contentious one is the last one, that is the Agricultural Marketing Act. And why is it a contentious one only for two states, Haryana and Punjab? Because the farmers from other areas are not really agitated about it, or are they agitating? Of course, politically some people may still try to instigate them to educate so that they will have a pan-India presence, but essentially the other state farmers are really not bothered about this act for the following reasons. These agricultural market yards, the earlier system is any produce that is taken has to be sold in the agriculture market, and if you don't sell it there, and if you sell it and somebody buys it outside the agricultural market yard, he will have to pay that market fee in the check posts which are set up in each state depending upon the jurisdiction of that market yard. Once this act comes into force, farmers will have the choice of either selling it in the market yard or outside the market yard, and if you sell it outside the market yard, you need not pay the market fee, and that person can transport it anywhere in the country without payment of any market fee anywhere. So this would definitely facilitate a better trade, a better movement of goods, which would be beneficial to the farmers. But Punjab and Haryana farmers are worried on a different count. They also know that it's a beneficial act for them, but their main problem is, as the system evolved over a period of time, Punjab and Haryana have started growing wheat and rice in huge quantities and giving it to the procurement pool of the government. Procurement pool of the government, where government is the buyer and a minimum support price is paid through these market yards to these farmers. The system has worked well for a long time when the quantities were small, but today the problem is the production is more, the requirement is less. In fact, last year Government of India is holding on to about 15 million tons of rice, 7 million tons of wheat, more than what is required for the PDS, because that's produced by the farmers and they are bound to buy it under the MSP system, and it's rotting in the godowns of the Food Corporation of India. The apprehension of the farmers of Haryana and Punjab is slowly this MSP system of buying whatever is produced by them, the quantity is produced by them, the central government may give a go by, is the apprehension. Otherwise, there should not be any agitation in the minds of the farmers against this particular act. In fact, Punjab and Haryana have an undue advantage because of the MSP system and because of the procurement in the market yards. They charge a market fee of about 7% and a commission of 2.5% or so for these commission agents, which itself is coming to last year approximately a 3,000 crores payment to the market yards and to these commission agents, which is not available to the other states. In a way, it's a very system which is disadvantageous to other states but advantageous only to Haryana and Punjab. So this system cannot continue forever. That's the problem. But how to get over it? Unless Haryana, Punjab farmers go for crop diversification away from paddy and rice and take up other commodities, this problem is going to continue. So this is the final thing that needs to be looked at. There is a need for that also, even from the point of view of Haryana and Punjab, because these two crops are depleting the groundwater tables of the two states also. In fact, the water levels will go up if they start diversifying into oil seeds and pulses. The best thing is Government of India should the PDS system they should expand to include oils and pulses. Then keep quotas for the states instead of open-ended procurement, which is very costly and commits public funds and is resulting in lot of food grains rotting in the FCI godowns. Fix quotas to the states and then procure, in addition to rice and wheat, more of oil seeds and pulses and encourage their production. I think that's the ultimate goal that the government should aim at. But for that apprehension that the Government of India may not buy whatever they produce under the MSP, there is no other reason for the farmers to be agitated about this, because it does give a freedom to the farmer either to sell in the market yard or outside the market yard. So there is a lot of politics in the agitation more than the economics in the agitation, and naturally a sensitive issue, a regional issue, a political issue needs to be dealt with as a political issue with a spirit of give and take. Whatever is going to be the final outcome, whether the government would fully repeal or go in for some compromise, but in the end it should be made clear that the open-ended MSP procurement of wheat and rice is not possible in the long run, that there will be quotas for the states, and to that extent only Government of India would be in a position to buy. Beyond that, whatever is produced, it's for the farmer to take care, and that's where he should be advised to diversify to other crops, more remunerative crops more needed crops like the oil seeds and pulses, and more remunerative crops like the commercial crops and the horticultural crops. Unless that crop diversification is done, whether this act stays as it is, as amended, or the amendment is revoked, the problem per se for Haryana and Punjab farmers will remain the same, because no governments can afford to keep on buying without requirement and allow them to rot just because that has been produced. That's the essence of the problem as far as this particular issue and the farmers' agitation is concerned. Thank you very much.